What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Bronx Pinstripe Show. It's Sunday afternoon, 4 o'clock. The game's over. Gerrit Cole just finished making a statement. The statement that, Scott, you were wrong. It is not the Twins' reckoning. You did not jinx the Yankees, despite how that series started. Because, boy, after that debacle on Thursday and then the Twins come back on Friday, I had some people in my Twitter mentions being like, what the hell did Scott just do?
Yeah. No, there's nothing wrong with that because I can't help it if when I say something, it comes true. It's not like, I'm not making things up at that point. Like they actually happen. So if that was it, guys, I just did everybody a humongous favor if that's the case.
2 games. That was it.
Two games. Yeah, they got it all out. They got it all out. On the first day was like, okay, cool. Embarrass us a little bit. Embarrass the rookie that nobody had heard of until he took the mound the first time with the ball this year. That's fine. Humble the kid. If that's what you're going to do, and that's what we're going to call the the resurgence of the Minnesota Twins with their Marlins hats on, then fine, we'll do that.
Those uniforms. What was with those uniforms?
It's their new logo, the North Star.
I know.
It looks exactly like the Marlins hats.
But even like the jerseys, not the jerseys they wore today, because I guess they were wearing alternates today, but like the road grays, I'm like, these things look like, again, like the paste letters from the was that Great Britain's World Baseball Classic team, where just like someone just put paint letters on the uniforms. But yeah, we'll get into everything from the weekend. You're in Boston though, Scott. You're back in Boston.
Back in Boston, yeah, I am. We got Bevan running the marathon tomorrow. So,
what is her mindset right now?
Her mindset right now is like all the logistics, making sure that they're all good. And 95% of the logistics at this point is my job, which I got under control.
She's got to get out to what's it called?
The town. I forget the name of it, but yeah,
the town southwest. I used to work in Hopkinton, Massachusetts, which is where the marathon started.
So this whole started is like Bevan said, she's like, I got to get to Boston Commons to meet people or whatever to get a shuttle down to the finish line. I'm like, okay, great. That's going to be a problem. So I'm trying to figure out like, what station can we get to that's because we're staying up in Marblehead right now. We decided to stay outside the city, which I think was a smart move. We have a car. So I'm more in control of the situation than not being, not to mention like anything inside the city of Boston this weekend was unbelievably egregiously priced, and I just wasn't going to give the city my dollars. Sorry, I still have some hatred to the city on
the marathon and all the playoffs going on. It's crazy.
It's wild. So, and typical Boston with their confusing streets and nothing makes sense. Let's just do everything at the same time. Fenway, Ohtani pitching on Monday, the Boston Marathon.
Great, love it.
Yeah, let's all put it in the exact same little tiny
Chaos.
part of Boston. Yeah,
Chaos.
It's pretty ridiculous. Anyway, we found out that there's another shuttle that she can catch down in Hopkinton. Is that the name of it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're going around the city. I'm getting in the car, going around the whole city.
495 Ave. Yeah.
And it will take a little longer to get there by the letter of the law here by Google Maps, but we're not going to hit traffic, knock on wood. And we'll get her there.
So you're dropping her off there and then you're driving into the city?
No, so then we're dropping her off, and then Kemp and I have a day ahead of us. I don't know who's got the marathon. Who's got the marathon?
Yeah, who's to say?
Yeah, at the end of the day, I got a 5-year-old all day long for that amount of time, and have to schlep through everything.
Who's going to be more tired at the end of the day?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. So we're going to go to the zoo in the beginning, which is south of Boston. So I'm going to stay south again on the outskirts, find somewhere down there to leave the car and then hoof it up or, figure it out. I don't know. Cool. So then we'll pick a couple points out to follow her along, but yeah, she's in a good place. I think she's getting amped up a little bit. Obviously nerves are kicking in, and it's our anniversary today too, which is like, there's a lot of things happening. We've been married for 12 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. So
is there like a big pre-run meal that she's got planned? Like what do you eat before a marathon?
Carb up, right? Isn't that?
Do you carb up though? Like
I think that's the thing. That's what you're told to do, I believe. So she's gonna.
It's like in The Office when Michael ate fettuccine Alfredo before his 5K.
Yeah, hopefully something that will
you want
stay.
fettuccine Alfredo.
Something that'll stay down a little easier, but she's good. Anyway, there are a lot of people that listen to this show and who have gone to games with us and done all the things that have donated to her. She's obviously running the foundation for the foundation, the Ethan Lindbergh Foundation, which is something that's very, very close to us. They helped us out when we were up in Boston when Kemp was born at Boston Children's Hospital. Anyway, they raise money and do a lot of really good things for children's heart disease research. So I really appreciate everybody who is putting their dollars into this thing, because at the end of the day, she is running for charity. She's not running for time. She just wants to do the best she possibly can. But she's out here doing a really good thing for a really good organization. So, from the bottom of my heart, I truly appreciate it. And something that is coming from this whole show and all the things we've done at Bronx Pinstripes, we are doing an event on Memorial Day weekend. That Saturday, the 27th. Is that right? I will post it. The link will be posted hopefully by the time this is out, if not this week, so that we can get tickets. We have 100 tickets for this particular event that are up for. All the dollars that are going to this, anybody who wants to come to this, every single dollar that comes is going to be donated to the Ethan Lindbergh Foundation through the marathon page that Bevan is raising money through. And ahead of it, we've already made, so Bronx Pinstripes as a whole has made a $5,000 donation to the page. And then all the proceeds are going to go back to that donation. So really, really proud of everything, that we've done here. Appreciate everybody for listening and supporting my wife, Bevan.
And the 27th of May, it's the Saturday Memorial Day weekend against the Padres, which is an awesome matchup. So many superstars.
Looks like it's sold out too. I tried to get more tickets. It was by the time
we've got 100. We've got 100 tickets. So when that link is live, seriously, do not hesitate, because there's probably already 20 tickets claimed from just like people that we know.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the tickets are going to go fast. I'm very much looking forward to it. It's a 1:00 game, so breakfast beers at bar to be determined in the Bronx. You got to get to the Bronx early, but that's okay. It should be a ton of fun on Memorial Day weekend. We didn't do an event last year, and then obviously the year before that was the stadium wasn't even at full capacity for half the season. So it's been 3 years, really.
2019 playoffs.
2019 playoffs was
when we had 420 people in right field.
A real event.
Yeah.
And, we used to do them once a month. Back in 2018, 2019, we did 6 events a year.
Yeah, which was a lot.
That was a lot. But that's not going to happen anymore, unfortunately. No. I would love it if it could, but one event a year, I think, is definitely realistic going forward. And just seeing some people who, familiar faces that come back, friends that's really what we're going for here. And raising money for the Ethan Lindbergh Foundation, or whatever, if we choose to raise money for something else next year, like that's sort of going to be the style of these events going forward. And obviously hang out, have some drinks, talk about the Yankees, and hopefully watch them kick some ass. So yeah, check out our social media pages and all that stuff for the links that will be going up this week, and hope to see everybody there. So should we start with Cole today? Because that happened.
That just happened. So yeah, let's talk about. We're certainly not going to start with Thursday. We probably shouldn't even talk about Thursday. But
there's one thing I want to talk about from that game. But yeah, so we joked at the top, a statement from Gerrit Cole, but he's legitimately making a statement so far this year. He's got a .95 ERA through 4 starts. It's been unbelievable. He's been unhittable. Complete game shutout today, 10 strikeouts, 2 hits, 109 pitches. He referenced, I don't know if you caught his little post-game thing with Meredith. He referenced the first inning on Thursday, so maybe that was a bit of a firing up for the team, for the pitching staff. It's hard to say because, right, Friday they blew the game. They got 3 fantastic pitching performances this weekend, and they only went 2-2, but they should have won Friday's game. Nestor Cortes pitched great. They blew that game. So I don't know, maybe that first inning on Thursday night, fired up the pitching staff a little bit, because Domingo German has never looked that good. And Gerrit Cole, you literally can't look any better than he looked today.
Well, I think also that when you have something like that to start a series off, you certainly remember and identify what can happen and how potent their offense is, because it is a potent offense. They have some good firepower in that lineup, and when you got guys attacking, stepping up a little bit more. It was embarrassing on Thursday. Like they should feel slighted because of what happened. And they know that they've owned this team for a very long time. And you don't want to be the guys that let them back in. You don't want to be the guys that, give them back that hope. Even though they are a lot of different people, with the, that are in the uniform, but yeah, they identified, pitched their asses off. Not to mention, like, Cole's been pitching well. Nestor's been pitching well. Herman's the one that we're looking at like, holy shit, where'd that come from? But yeah, they might have known where it came from.
Yeah. So through 4 starts last year, Gerrit Cole's ERA was 4. So it's over 3 runs lower so far this year through 4 starts.
Good for him.
Logan and I were joking before the start because Logan is a Gerrit Cole stan, and he's just sick of people talking shit about Cole. Mainly me and Scott talking shit about Gerrit Cole. But I legitimately thought he deserved it last year. Like to lead the league in home runs allowed, to pitch like he did. Like that is not what you are paying Gerrit Cole to do. We don't need to go into everything about last year, again. Maybe he's going to win the Cy Young, right? Like maybe this year he's going to just be elite all season, start to finish, and he's going to win the Cy Young. Awesome. The one and only way he's going to officially shut up any naysayers, any doubters, is to carry that through October and lead the Yankees to a championship. And I understand that a World Series is not entirely up to Cole, right? You could have one great pitcher and he could shove every single time on the mound, and you could still lose the series because it's just 1 out of 4 starting pitchers. But regardless, the Yankees need to make a deep run, and Gerrit Cole, every time he takes the ball in October, he needs to shove. And until he does that, there's going to be some questions about his ability to do that. No one's questioning his ability to be an elite pitcher. That's not what we've ever questioned. It's what he has actually done in times of pressure. We joke about the pressure as a privilege, blah, blah, blah. But you agree, right? Until it happens through October, there's always going to be those doubts.
Yeah, for sure. He's got to be that dominant guy and do it when it matters. So I'm glad he's off to a really good start. He's taking control, when there's a ton of injuries that are happening on this team, and he's taking things into his own hands. And, we referenced some numbers last episode about him. Like if you look at the lines before today, they were there from this year and last year, they were actually very similar, except for the home runs. The home runs were the big thing that stood off the page, but a lot of the stat lines were actually pretty similar, which was kind of crazy. But he's been able to control the zone. He's been able to work ahead. He's been, he referenced they were talking about the high fastball. He said Trevi had a great game today. Like he was on fire, calling a good game behind the plate, using that high fastball. I've always believed that when Cole is around the zone early in the count with the fastball, if he's controlling that fastball early in the count, he's going to be good on that given day. Because if his fastball is going, and a lot of power pitchers, this is how it works for them. If they're in the zone, if they're showing that fastball and they're popping it, they're getting ahead early in counts, then everything else just becomes that much more dominant. So that's what he did. Up in the zone, good luck hitting a fastball up in the zone, Gerrit Cole, when he's right. Like that's probably one of the hardest pitches to hit in baseball because it looks good, but it's just very difficult to get bat on ball or anything meaningful contact on that pitch. So yeah, I mean, hats off to him, and he's leading the team right now, which is exactly what we expect him to do.
Was it Kepler that took him to the right field wall on that fly ball that I thought was maybe going to be the first home run? And he hit it to right field, so it was kind of just like a high fly ball to right field, short porch job if it did go over. But yeah. He's also using his curveball more. He's pitching, forcing fastballs up in the zone, curveball, changing the plane. He's putting on a clinic right now.
Yeah, he is.
What did you think of today's lineup? I found today's lineup really interesting because obviously Stanton's on the IL now with the hamstring, and it's like, okay, same shit, different day with Stanton. Like that's why I said just put him in the outfield because he's going to get hurt no matter what. The dude gets injured just existing, whether he's DHing, playing the outfield, bench pressing models on Instagram, like whatever it is, he's going to get injured. So when he comes back, I hope they're not like, oh, we can't put him in the outfield now because he's injury prone. Like, no, he's going to get injured no matter where you put him. So just put him back in the outfield until he gets injured again. Quick Stanton rant. What I was going to say is without Stanton in the lineup, they moved Glaber to 4, Volpe to leadoff, DJ to 5, which is interesting because DJ came up, he had the home run, but he also came up in a key spot in the 3rd inning with guys on base, and he got a base hit to right field. I kind of like that. I kind of like him coming up with men on base.
Yeah, they've done this in the past where he's especially now when this guy, the field has opened up. Not that he got shifted on a lot, because he's always been the guy that's been able to go pole to pole, but he does give you a much better opportunity when there's guys on base. Like, yes, he's a great leadoff guy because he gets on base at a high percentage, but you're seeing even Volpe with when he's leading off, his batting average looks like shit, but he's walking a lot. He's getting on, and he's active as all hell on the base path. So he fits the bill. And Gleyber, I know I've said, or in the past this year, that I don't love Gleyber as a leadoff, but he's been very good in every spot that he's been in. So you don't necessarily need LeMahieu in that leadoff spot. So yeah, if you're going to be able to, if you lose the bat of Stanton, you're losing production when guys are on. Give me the guy that can spray it all over the place and take advantage of a big opportunity in LeMahieu, and he did. He got the porch job today, and yeah, came up with runners on and was able to come through.
What is Volpe's on base percentage? Because his batting average isn't great.
Isn't great. It's below the Mendoza line,
which we're going to talk about the home run. But yeah, Logan, if you could find out he's still walking. He walked twice on Saturday, stole 3 bases. He's tied with a bunch of people at 6 stolen bases.
He got another one. So he got 7 today.
He's got a 7 today. Right.
Yeah, he's at 309 on base percentage.
For what's his batting average?
He's hitting 191 so far. So he's
okay. So you get that batting average.
It is coming up.
It's coming up, but you get that batting average to 260, 265, 270, and you maintain that 100-point extra on base percentage. Now you're 360 on base percentage, 260 batting average. Might not sound amazing, but 360 on base percentage is very, very good, especially for a rookie. I know he's not there yet, but I'm just like, yeah, I believe his batting average is going to continue to rise.
I agree. And I think, and I do like him in that leadoff spot. I don't know how long it's gonna be there. We know we'll talk about the injuries coming up here, but Bader's on track for coming back. You may see him in that leadoff spot quite a bit, but Volpe does fit the bill. And honestly, even in the 9 spot, he's turning the lineup over at that 9 spot, so he acts as the second leadoff guy.
Hicks isn't doing it for you in the 9 spot.
Yeah, you still feel bad. So for
frustrated. I felt bad for him for about 3 pitches in that game, that last Wednesday game in Cleveland. Yeah, he's just so frustrated every time he gets out.
Well, yeah, I would be frustrated if I sucked too at the job.
With all the injuries, I don't mind Volpe at the leadoff. I mean, is he the most ideal leadoff hitter for this team right now? Or right now, no. If everyone's healthy, no, excuse me. Right now, maybe. If everyone's healthy, probably not. But we'll see how people are performing in a month from now.
Yeah, and I like putting him in the pressure spot of that leadoff spot a little bit as well. I think I don't
think pressure is getting to him.
I don't think it is.
I know you're not saying it is, but I don't think, even though he's batting 190 or whatever, I see him mostly having quality at bats.
I'm saying that as a positive, actually.
Yeah.
I think that type he reminds me of a guy that is pressure is a privilege. Like he steps up in those big moments. He doesn't get phased. It doesn't seem by big moments. So I like that. I like putting a little bit more pressure on him. I think he's one of those guys that will, can act accordingly in a spot like that. Logan.
So you said what you think he should be, Andrew. So in his last 7 games, he's 263 average, 364 on base, 838 OPS. So
there you go.
If I had to bet, that's what he ends the year around, hopefully. And I think that's a really solid year.
I think that's a really7 bid for
7
rookie of the year.
Right. Absolutely.
Especially with 100 stolen bases. Yeah, definitely.
840.
840 OPS.
Yeah.
100. Yeah. What is he on pace for stolen bases? He's got to be on.
Yeah. Can we track some on pace for stolen bases?
It's like one every other game because he's at 7. They played 15, 16 games. So it's 80 stolen bases.
80 stolen bases. What is Mullins at? Because Mullins was leading. So Mullins is on pace.
He is only at 8. He's only 1 above.
Okay, so he's at roughly 90 to 90.
Yeah, wait till it starts getting, the summer months come and everything's loosened up and everybody's flying around the base paths.
Dude, I don't know if you know this, but it was 90 degrees this week in New York City.
Yeah,
the whole East Coast, apparently.
The whole East Coast was hit by I'm up in Boston this weekend. It was 85 degrees. So yeah, it's a warm one.
Well, as we're talking about Volpe, his first home run the other night, Judge, of course, got to follow up with the solo home run rate to follow. I can't give the kid too much of a spotlight. No. And I know you were mentioning that harkens back to Judge and Tyler Austin back to back. It was actually Tyler Austin first.
Yeah.
to hit the home run right down the right field line. Scott and I were at that game, standing in center field at the Mohegan Sun Sports Bar. That was the hottest day probably in the history of the world. I think it was
in the history of the
115
planet. Like, I'm surprised it didn't combust, to be honest. Like, it was,
was
asteroids.
disgusting.
I mean, the dinosaurs lived through some heat, but that day was ridiculous.
That's
I've
why
never
we were
been so hot.
standing in the bar, because it was way too. We were in the bleachers then, because that was not an actual event. This was 2016, so this was before we did like an official.
We were
event.
outside the bar. We were out on the railing.
Yeah, but they had mist going.
I don't remember that.
That's why we were sitting. They had fans and mist going, and we had been sitting in the bleachers. And the bleachers on a 110-degree day might as well be just the depths of hell. Like, there's no worse place on earth than that. Hot metal bleachers.
Well, yeah, but at least you're watching a Yankees game. But so I came to that game. I started watching it late just because I was traveling, and when I saw that he hit the shot, it was awesome. That's the initial thing that came back in my head was that Judge went back to back on his first one. So that's pretty cool. The fact that he ushered him in with the home run behind him, because I think a lot of people will remember that for a long time.
I think fans were going for the Volpe curtain call, but because Judge hit the home run, they didn't continue with the chant.
Yeah, but
because they were doing Volpe.
Didn't he come out?
Volpe.
I think he came out. I saw a headline saying it was a curtain call.
Oh, he did. Did I miss him coming out? Did he come out?
I thought I saw a headline that said he came out. Again, I was late to this game.
No. Right. I don't think he came out. And Sterling's home run call, not his best. Anthony Volpe, a spectaculo OG. Oh, the Fox Sox one to left. So Volpe means fox in Italian, so that's why he called him the Fox, which is fine. That's okay. If Sterling's trying to get a Fox nickname for Volpe, I don't hate it. But whenever he goes a different language, as you can see, I can't even say it, and that's a problem. When you can't say the home run call, the same thing with Stanton's home run call, which I can't say either. So here's the problem. Able to easily say it. It should be a catchphrase. It should be a pun. It should be very, very memorable. Yeah. This is not.
No. And, when you're hearing it for the first time in real time and it's in a different language, you hear what it sounds like in English. And part of it's OG. I'm like, OG, he's a rookie. What are we talking about? And why is Sterling saying OG to Anthony Volpe? It's like it didn't make sense in my head until I saw the whole, translation of it. And like the translation's fine. It makes a lot of sense. He's putting on a show today. Yeah, putting on a show today, the Fox. Okay. Yeah, I don't love it.
It's not. The fact that we have 4 bullet points in our notes going in depth on what this means is a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, he needs to just get back to the Giambino.
Puns.
Like, let's
puns.
Yeah, let's get back to some simple shit. Those are the best ones.
The puns is what is best, because we hope Volpe's here for a long time.
Does he need a writer? Does the common sense department need to come out?
No, because I don't.
Sterling some assistance.
I'm not even other people.
I'm not saying write the thing, but at least like get some ideas flowing. Maybe he's got writer's block, and that's why he's going into a different language.
I think he goes to people. What I think is he obviously Volpe was a huge one because he knew Volpe's wins the starting shortstop job. Like, he's got to have something really good for him. Stanton was another huge one. You acquire the MVP from the National League. You need something to go, and I feel like he almost puts too much pressure on himself when he has to do that, and he overthinks it, and he goes to these different languages to get too creative with it. It's like, no, John, we love you when it's simple and punny.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. Let's keep it simple. KISS, John. KISS.
Yeah. Well, Scott already mentioned this, but it is just absolute mayhem in Boston right now with all the playoffs going on. It's also kind of mayhem in the New York sports world. Obviously, the Yankees are playing the Angels this week, but in the NBA, you've got the Knicks and Cavs and the Nets and Sixers matching up. You've got the Rangers and Devils and the Islanders and Hurricanes matching up. All of those sporting events, if you want to go to one of those, use Game Time. Game Time is an amazing sports ticket app, but you can also get music, comedy, and theater tickets. I was looking at some tickets for Tuesday against the Angels. Unfortunately, Ohtani's not going to be pitching. He's pitching Monday. You can get into the stadium on Game Time for as little as $8, but that's not the tickets I would go for. My recommendation for tickets using the Game Time app for Tuesday's game is you can get 2 tickets in section 212 for $48 each. Section 212 is the middle level. It's about halfway between first base and the right field foul pole. It's a great view of the stadium, and you can get it for less than $50 each. I think that's really good value. So the app has a ton of cool features. It's easy to use. It shows you the trending tickets, what sections the best deals are in. It calls out cheap options and flash deals and much, much more, so you can make an informed purchase. There's even event cancellation protection, so you can buy with confidence. Game Time is the fastest growing ticket app for a reason. You get images of your seats before you buy, so you know exactly what you can expect. The buying process is fast. It's just 2 taps and you're done. Tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you don't have to go through your email and try and find them. Snag tickets today without any stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Bronx for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, create an account, and code Bronx for $20 off your first purchase.
You know, you reminded me of something that made me a little sad. Is growing up, the Rangers Devils head-to-head matchup was like one of the most contested, you know, in school, going through school. It was like a civil war because, especially growing up in Jersey, you had a lot of people Devils fans and a lot of people Rangers fans. I grew up
Were you a Devils fan?
I was a huge Devils fan. I was actually a bigger Devils fan as a young kid than I was a Yankees fan for a while. I was a huge Devils fan. And like, I mean, some of my best friends were Rangers fans. So it was legitimately like a civil war inside the schools. It was nasty. But the fact that the Rangers and the Devils are playing, I haven't followed hockey in a long time. It was one of the sports that unfortunately just fell off the wayside. As you get older, it's hard to keep up with everything. And that was one of them. I don't know why, but it did. I think when the strike happened, like I fell off the wagon for a minute and then I just never got back on. I was drunk
didn't
for
fall
like
off
6,
the wagon
7 years.
For the baseball strike though? That didn't affect you?
No, it didn't. It did not affect me at that point.
Did the Yankees winning 4 World Series have something to do with that?
Yeah, well, I mean, the Devils, are you kidding me? The amount of cups the Devils won, the Devils were actually they were just as good. The Devils had an unbelievable run in the 90s. So Marty Brodeur was the greatest goaltender of all time history, next to him and Waugh, you could argue. But they were so it just brought some back. I have no idea what's going on in either one of those teams, but I bet a lot of people are having a lot of fun with that one.
It's a great time. I mean, this is arguably, I know there's no football and people love football, but both of these playoffs going on and baseball, you know, it's still in the first month. It's arguably the best sports time.
Yeah, it's a great sports time. You got the NFL draft coming up, so that's something.
Yeah, NFL draft. All right, let's talk about German and the sticky stuff controversy. So I was listening to this game on the radio on Saturday. I was doing some yard work. And John and Susan just didn't talk about it at first. And then all of a sudden, they come back and they start talking about this. And I'm like, so German's being checked. So I'll quickly run down what happened, because there was an article in The Athletic that was, you know, went in depth about this. The umps checked his hands and glove following the 3rd inning and found that his pitching hand had an elevated level of tackiness.
Right.
So the umps told him to wash his hands between innings. Then they checked him again after the 4th inning, and German's pinky, still had a tackiness to it. And that is when they conferenced and were like, what's going on here? German said it was rosin, but the umps are like, we haven't seen you go to the rosin bag on the mound. So like, what is this? He said, no, it's rosin. I use it in the dugout. Apparently has a rosin bag that he touches in the dugout. I didn't know that was legal, honestly. I didn't think you could I thought you had to use a designated rosin bag either on the mound or like out on the batting circle. But regardless, there was the long discussion, and ultimately they decided he could still pitch. And Baldelli, he was asked after the game, should he have been ejected? He said, obviously. Everyone that was watching the game could see the same thing that we were seeing. Their pitcher was warned or asked to clean his hand off of rosin that was on his hand, because sometimes you do use rosin. It will get especially tacky. He was warned. He didn't fully comply with the warning, from what I was told, and was still allowed to keep pitching. That's it. I just don't agree with that in principle. So if it was just rosin and like somehow got super tacky, maybe it was the humidity or something like that.
Well, okay. the heat, the sweat, and the rosin mixture can get a tackiness to it. Yeah.
Where Baldelli is right though, if he was told to clean off his hands and then came back out for the next inning, and they still said, "Oh, it's still too tacky." Baldelli kind of has an argument here.
I mean, he's got an argument for the thing, but he did seemingly clean up the rest of his hands, and just like the pinky was still a little too much elevated tackiness. I don't know. And like, what are you gonna do with this pinky for a minute? You're gonna put it on your thumb. You're gonna put it on the other fingers. I mean, you can do that.
I don't know,
but I don't know how much it's gonna do. It seems like it was. Obviously, the umpires thought it was a misstep, or just like, he didn't clean it well enough, but clearly did wash the hands. He listened to them, washed the hands, got the things off. Does that mean he's not allowed to use rosin then for the rest of the game? That would be bullshit too, wouldn't it? Because it's illegal. It's something that you're allowed to use at that point. So that's where
that's the gray area of this whole sticky stuff.
But Baldelli loses me at that point.
2 years
he's
ago.
allowed to use it. So yeah, he did wash it, but then it was there again. Well, yeah. Okay. So he washed most of it off, but then he's not at any point. I don't know if they ever told him you can't use rosin again, because that to me would be an overstep by the umpires. You can't tell a guy not to use rosin if it's legal and allowed. It's a hot day. Like the combination, it's science. It's science, people. The combination of these two things creates a tackiness.
You know where my brain went immediately, right? Because Herman's pitching a perfect game at that point. He takes a perfect game into the 6th inning. It's the best start he's had in maybe ever in his career. His final line was 6 1/3, 3 hits, 1 run, 11 strikeouts. He was absolutely dominating. I think he struck out like 9 of the first 11 batters or something like that. And we're talking about the 3rd and 4th inning there. So the Twins are just getting mowed down. And here we go, checking him for sticky stuff. And I'm like, of course this is why. Because he looked like dog crap in his previous start.
Yeah, so I mean, it's still, but it's a level of tackiness, the rosin piece of this, through the whole league that they're okay with. They're
okay.
allowing.
It's a legal substance.
So they're saying it's an elevated level of tackiness.
You got too tacky.
What the hell does that mean? What the hell does that mean? At what point is it elevated? There's no measurement. It's just it's the umpire saying, it's too much.
It's because they touch his hand, and if they feel like, oh, this is too sticky.
Yeah. So then you wash it. Okay. So he did, and there was still a little bit on the pinky. If you wash your hands, your pinky might be the last thing you can leave the pinky out sometimes. It doesn't get the same amount of washing to your like index finger and your middle fingers get, your ring finger. I'd say the pinky gets the least amount of washing when you wash your hands in general. Okay.
If they told him to wash his hand after the 3rd inning, shouldn't they have checked his hand on his way out for the next inning?
Yeah.
Is that what happened? Or I thought they checked him after the 4th inning. Oh, okay.
No, that is what happened.
They checked him on the way out for the 4th.
Yeah. It's like my son, when he goes to the bathroom. Kemp, did you wash your hands?
Listen for how long the water is running. He's just standing there with the water running.
Which, by the way, I'm using his headphones. So if you're watching this, I look like a jackass because I'm using
Baby
kids'
headphones.
But the it's like, no.
The fact that they fit your head though.
Go back in. It's killing my ear right now. Go back
it's
in
real tight
and wash your hands because you didn't do a good enough job. Let me see him. That's exactly what happened. It was like a dad moment with Herman. Like, no, this wasn't good enough. Go back and do it again. I would keep some water on my hands. So the next time I touch the rosin, it just gets sticky again.
Sticky. I mean, you didn't need water. It was humid as crap.
That's fine. Yeah, just wipe your head. It's a different one. There's a lot more salt in that.
My cynical mind is just like, oh crap, of course he's doing something shady after he had a really bad start, and now he looks awesome. And it's like, can't we just have a good start here? It's, again, I thought because the Yankees blew the game on Friday and I had your Twins reckoning thing in the back of my mind, I was just like, oh crap, Herman's gonna get booted out of this game.
Cheating too. Well, you know what it does show you? It does show you how important having a tackiness on your hand, how much it actually does.
You don't say that's important.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's crazy when you see. So yeah, maybe it was a little tacky from there. Maybe it's a little. Maybe the rosin got a little bit more tacky than he normally does. But and then now you look at the performance. Like, you don't think they're correlated? I guarantee they're correlated.
Yes, of course they are.
Yeah.
So even if he's not actually using an illegal substance, yeah, that played a factor in probably how good he was and how much command he had. And he had no command in his previous start. I think he walked 5 in his previous start against Cleveland.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what to say there about just he needs to flirt with a line every single time he's out there.
So this is not like Michael Pineda pound of pine tar on your neck.
Pine tar on his neck. He's like, here, it's on my face.
Yeah,
he was like putting it under his eyes, like eye black. Like, I'm not even hiding it. It's just here.
Yeah.
which is why he got called out, because it was just right in the face. It was just
you
insulting.
couldn't not. I mean,
Yeah.
John Farrell was the Red Sox manager at that time. He's basically, I think his quote after the game was, "I couldn't not say something." It's just like, it was too obvious. Like, anyway, this is also from this game. We had Higgy and Rizzo both hit home runs. Anthony Rizzo quietly off to a hot start. So he also had a good April last year.
Yeah, I was going to say, he had a lot of power last year.
Could you pull his updated stat line right now after the Sunday game? But one thing I wanted to keep an eye on this year, we talked about this, BABIP, batting average on balls in play for Rizzo, because no shift. He was one of the guys that got just completely crushed by the shift.
Yeah.
Last year, 216 batting average on balls in play. This year, 308.
Yeah, and so we had a conversation about Rizzo specifically. I remember this conversation because we were saying like, oh, he's one of the guys that's going to benefit from it because he's got, well, a lot of guys can benefit from the non-shift because good bat to ball guys. He didn't have to change anything. He's one of these guys that didn't have to change a damn thing. Just do the same thing, and naturally, it's just you're gonna find more balls hit the grass than not now, because there's not another defender there, which is great for him because he doesn't have to change anything as far as the way his swing mechanics are, or the kind of approach he has at the plate. It's just naturally now there's less defense that's going to get in his way of getting a hit. And yeah, you're seeing it. The BABIP is right there. And again, this is one of those stats that I do like a lot, because I think it tells a story. Like, give me these advanced stats to tell a story. And I think this one is pretty telling.
BABIP across the league is also up because
it makes sense.
And so career wise, BABIP for Rizzo is 278. Now, maybe 308 is a little bit inflated, small sample size, but if it's close to that 278 number, that's a completely different ballgame for Rizzo. Like, his batting average settled last year in like the mid 220s. Like, no, he's not a 220s hitter. He's a high 200s hitter, definitely, Rizzo. And right now, so far this year, is 315 batting average, 908 OPS, 4 homers, 9 RBIs, and 6 walks. Last April, he had 9 home runs, 21 RBIs, a little bit over 1,000 OPS, but the batting average was at 273, and then the batting average just slowly declined from there on out throughout the season.
Yeah, we're halfway through April as well, so it's he's on relative pace for some of those numbers, maybe a little shy on the production side, but yeah, he's a couple big days right there. But yeah, this is exactly what Major League Baseball was looking to do. They wanted more of these balls that were getting caught in short right field, because really that's the big area. The right side of the field is the area that was
up the middle too, though.
Away. Up the middle as well. Yeah,
up the middle. Rizzo's had I can remember 2 separate hits so far that Rizzo had that are definitely just caught by the shortstop over playing behind second base.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So starting behind second base and over to the right side. That's where there's a lot of robbery happening on some base hits. Logan.
Yeah, his career. You said his batting average this year on balls in play is 308. So if you
that was before today. I was looking on Fangraphs, so I don't know. It's got to be about the same.
Yeah. So it might not actually be that much inflated, because if you go back to his seasons before they were shifting him.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So in 2016, which I know is a good season for him, he had a 309 BABIP for the whole season.
Okay.
In 2015, it was 289. In 2014, it was 311. In 2019, it was 306.
Okay, so maybe that is
It's
about
right there.
accurate. Let's call it 300, right? Round number 300. Now we're looking at a 285 hitter for 275, 280 hitter for Rizzo this year. That's a ton of hits. That's so many hits throughout the season.
Yeah, it's a ton of hits. Him. So he's getting a tick up on the offensive side, and then what he brings on the defensive side, like, hell of a player. The Yankees got a good deal with him re-signing it.
Yeah.
Blue guy, good dog, good. What a good boy.
Also going back to the Saturday game, Stanton hit that 2-run double in the 7th inning and was pulled out of the game. We all thought it was just going to be pinch running late in the game, but hamstring issue for him. The Yankees wasted a ton of scoring opportunities in that game too. They poured it on late, but that game was kind of closer than 6-1. They were 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position. But Stanton, it's just like the injuries on this team. What else is there to say? It's a broken record at this point.
I don't even know. When you're looking at a guy like him, I don't know how you avoid these things. Like, the guy is physically who he is. It's not like he doesn't take care of himself and keep himself in shape. He does. He holds himself accountable for all of the things. It's not like he's not trying to stay healthy. He is. and it just happened. So it's unfortunate. And I, younger me would have been annoyed and yelling at him for something, but I think it's relatively, at this point completely out of his control. The guy keeps himself in good shape. He does.
No, like, what would there even be to get mad at? It's like, oh, you pulled a hamstring.
Yeah.
I know you weren't trying to pull your hamstring. And this happens. There was a stat on the broadcast today.
Be more limber.
Hot yoga, right? There was a stat on the broadcast today. I don't know if either of you guys caught this. Michael K said he has spent something like 40% of regular season games in a Yankee uniform on the IL.
It's crazy. That's a lot.
That's so many. That's insane. 40%.
Yeah, that's too much. All right, so let me take that back. Yeah, maybe we should work on our limberness a little bit more, huh?
But
that's always been the knock on
bicep,
him. Is like
it's
weight.
Calf, it's hamstring, it's everything. It's everything.
That when you see guys playing baseball that are more muscular, they tend to get more of these injuries. Whereas guys that are
knock on wood, Judge has been healthy.
Judge is just a big dude, man. He's not like he doesn't come across as like a massive weightlifter though. He's not the same. The physique is different. His physique is more appropriate for his size, I feel like.
Have you guys ever?
Although he was popping out of that Under Armour thing when he was talking to Meredith before the game the other day.
He's freaking shredded.
Have you guys ever compared them? So
shirtless?
Stanton is 6'6", 245.
Yeah,
right.
6'6", 245.
Judge is
that's
1 inch
probably
taller and
that's probably
like
lighter.
35 pounds heavier.
So yeah, I bet Stanton's closer to like 260.
Because I think
Judge lifted 282.
So
I bet they're both pretty close. I bet they're both around 265.
No, I bet Judge, no way.
No, I think Judge definitely is more. But I don't think he's more because of. I think he's heavier. I think he's
muscle weighs more than fat though. And you just said like Stanton's a bodybuilder.
Stanton's got no fat.
Trim. Yeah, exactly. He's got no fat.
Judge
has a normal. Judge is looks like he's supposed to look. I feel like. Look at their waists. You can tell by their waists. Stanton has a skinny waist.
The inverted V. It's just like straight down.
Judge is just looks appropriate. Judge will drink a beer. Stanton's getting the
vodka tonic.
No, the 0 calorie whatever. Yeah.
Tequila isn't tequila what you're supposed to drink when you're on a diet because there's like no carbs,
sugar,
like no sugar. Yeah.
Potato vodka. I don't know.
No, potato has carbs.
Okay, then don't do that. That's the maybe that's the.
I think
gluten.
It's tequila.
Is that the gluten?
I freaking hate tequila, but I think tequila is what you drink if you're trying to lose weight.
You know what? I have gone so many different ways. It's been a roller coaster through my life with tequila. Used to like it, and I hated it for a long time because of a bad spring break experience.
It's always a reason someone hates.
It was
tequila.
like $5 for two shots of two vials of tequila and a Corona, and never, and it's terrible. And now you get a little older, and I'm like, oh, now I'm drinking the good tequila. This shit's good. It's just delicious. That clear tequila is delicious.
And then what happened?
No, it's nice and clean. You wake up, don't abuse it.
You wake up and you drink some tequila, or you're saying you wake up
you drink more tequila.
You drink more tequila. I do hate drinking tequila. You know what I don't hate drinking?
AG1.
AG1, baby. I did a 2 a day on Saturday. And what that means is I had it, my regular routine before the coffee. And then I was outside, as I was saying, doing yard work. It was humid as crap. I was sweating my ass off. I came in. I had another little bottle of AG1 just to get that hydration going, get some more nutrients in the body.
Yeah. You lost some with the sweat.
I freaking hate yard work. It's the worst thing on earth. I'm thinking of just hiring a landscaping company.
Yeah. Whoa. Okay.
Did you? I mean, I don't know. What are you doing? Because you just bought a house. So what's your plan?
I like the pain. I do it. I do it all. Yeah, I do it all. It's for a while I just had a mower that I had to push. I didn't even get the other one, so I get some exercise while I was doing it. Pretty decent sized lot too, corner lot. Now we got some acreage. There's going to be some homeowner CrossFit, as I call it. I'm going to be in shredded shape.
I don't know if anyone has a landscaping company recommendation in Bergen County. Let me know. AG1 is a daily, or if anyone wants to give me some landscaping for free, just let me know. AG1 is a daily supplement packed with 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole foods, source ingredients, probiotics, and adaptogens that help you start your day right or recover from brutal yard work. Benefits that I've noticed drinking it every day for going on 6 months are mental clarity and alertness. It promotes gut health with pre and probiotics, better sleep quality and recovery, and it boosts your energy. Every serving contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial flavoring. Each serving costs less than $3, so it's affordable, and it's super easy. You just dump in the scoop, pour some water, and you shake it up and you drink it. Athletic Greens has over 7,000 5-star reviews and is trusted by athletes and health experts around the world. If you want to try it, go to athleticgreens.com/pinstripes for a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs. Thank you so much to AG1 for continuing to sponsor our show.
Need to get
we're working backwards.
Get some high school guys out there, high school kids out there working on it. If you had moved there a few years earlier, I could have had the whole Ramsey football team out there.
We're working backwards. Okay, so anything else from Friday? So another interesting thing from Friday's game is that they went to Clay Holmes in the 8th inning, facing 9-1-2 in the order, and Holmes obviously did not pitch well. He blew the game. He gave up a single, walk, double. And after the game, Boone said that his plan all along was to go to Holmes at the top of the Twins order, regardless of the inning. So it's interesting how he decided he was going to be managing that situation.
Yeah, I mean, fire extinguisher, right? This is what you've wanted. You've wanted this type of mindset from a manager.
I don't hate the move. I'm not criticizing his move. Holmes didn't pitch well.
No, he didn't.
So
no, exactly.
That's not Boone's fault. Like he went to the guy that should pitch well.
No, hold on. I'm not placing blame at all. I'm talking about strategy wise. Like this is the strategy that I know you've been pining for a while. It's like, don't just dedicate a guy to a 9th inning because it's a 9th inning. Dedicate a guy to close out the back of the game when it matters the most. And in this case, it happened to be the 8th inning with 9-1-2 up. You know, you want to get through that the top of the lineup with your best guy, and it didn't work. It didn't work. Because he's been very inconsistent so far at the beginning of the season, which is,
and even he got lucky in Cleveland. Okay.
Yes,
he made a good pitch, but he didn't pitch well in Cleveland either.
Yeah.
So what I'm sure Boone was thinking is, I don't want Correa coming up as the go-ahead run, and like I want Holmes to lock this down. And turns out Correa came up go-ahead run, or in a situation where he could punish them, and he did punish them. And it wasn't even a bad pitch to Correa. He just went with the pitch and punched it to right field. Carlos Correa, easily my most hated player in baseball. And it's not even close.
Does the mustache make it worse?
It's everything, honestly. Is obviously it stems from the cheating shit, but like he's good and he murders the Yankees. He had a great series against them. And then the quote afterwards said, "The boos for me are just like putting gasoline in your Ferrari. I love it." It's like, yeah, that is what it's like for him. And that's annoying. Like we talked about this with Bleacher Blums. Yeah. I know Correa's not an Astro anymore, but when he was there, he used the booze as fuel. Bregman, booze as fuel. Altuve, booze. Like, it's not working. Booing these guys ain't working.
Well, the thing is they bottle it up in a different way. They bottle it up. And I was just thinking about this, actually. I think that sometimes these guys are, especially that team, the 17 Astros team, where they're so egocentric to the point of they believe that the boos are because they are good and they beat them, rather than where it actually stemmed from. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there's a slight disconnect that they okay it in their head and then they use it as the leverage. It's just because I'm good.
Clearly,
it's because I'm good and I beat them, which is also true, but where did it stem from? You know, go ask what's his face, Evan Gaddis, about that recently. That stirred that pot again.
If you get beat straight up, it's annoying and you boo, but you don't have that visceral hate that we all have for those Astros players.
I can compare the way that I feel and have felt about the Astros compared to what I felt for like Manny and Ortiz is very different.
But they beat the Yankees straight up.
I know it. That's what I'm saying. It's very different. The Astros team, like I I loathe, like I hated them. I hate's a strong word. I don't use it very often, but I hated them. And these other, the Ortiz and Manny, like I couldn't stand the guys. They used to kick our ass. They were very difficult, and it would come up in really big situations, but I respected them. I respected them because they were very good at what they did. It just so happened that we were on the other side of it multiple times. Granted, we got them multiple times too, and it was a good back and forth, but it was the highest stakes at that moment. And I never like, I don't know, I had a different type of feeling towards them, but you could compare the two on the same as far as like the competition. But where it stemmed from was important, and the context does matter.
Logan just put in our chat that he hates the Astros more than he's ever hated the Red Sox. And I do think that's partially because of your age, Logan, because my hate for Correa and the Astros players does not come close to how much I hated the Red Sox in 2003, 2004. Like, and that's also partially because of my age. At that time, I was in high school. Like, baseball's literally all I cared about then, right? So always hated them more. I hated the last man on the bench for the Red Sox more than I hate Carlos Correa today, and I still hate Carlos Correa today. Brian Daubach could not stand Brian Daubach. He used to lick his wrist and rub it on his forehead in between pitches. And I used to throw my remote at my TV because of it.
Mike Timlin for me. I hated Mike Timlin.
Okay, so he's an asshole. You can't teach that kind of hate. But these Astros,
it's a different type of hate. It's a different type of hate.
It's different. I've gone through phases with this Astros team. When they beat the Yankees in 2017, at that time in 2017, I vividly remember having a conversation with you, Scott, before we knew about any of the cheating. We were obviously upset, but we did not hate those Astros. We're like, wow, this is shaping up to be a really good rivalry. They're obviously really good, but like this is going to be fun going forward. And then as we learned about the cheating stuff, and then the Yankees lost again in 2019, lost again to them in 2021. I started to obviously hate the Astros, but I almost hated the Yankees for how they kept losing to the Astros.
Yeah.
I'm like, you keep getting punked by this team.
Yeah.
Stop. Like that's kind of where I went with it.
Well, and it's also very different in the sense that there's, for probably for Red Sox fans actually, because for up until 2014 they never
got punked
beat
by
the
the
Yankees.
Yankees.
They got punked every single time. Like the 1918 chant was an all-time classic and a great moment because you couldn't say shit to it. You couldn't say a goddamn thing. Like they literally could say nothing. And I had a bunch of buddies I went to college with that were from New England, and it would drive them insane because they had no recourse at all besides, oh, you buy championships. Like that was the only thing that they would ever say. I'm like, whatever, it's fine. Beat us, do it. And then they started buying championships. But once they got over the hump, like actually the rivalry went away quite a bit. But the Yankees and the Astros, it's like we have this immense hate from stemming from a very different place, but also the Yankees haven't been able to get over the hump with these guys.
Right.
And that's why this year, in my bold predictions, I have them exercising the demons, getting through this bullshit in Houston and moving forth, so that we can all just breathe a little bit better.
We can't move forward until they beat the Astros.
Right. You have to, because it's gonna run through them. It's gonna come down to those two teams. If it's the Yankees there, if the Yankees are playing well enough, like they're very good chance that the Astros are going to be there too.
The last thing from the series I want to mention, so obviously Thursday was a debacle. Brito was terrible, gave up 6 hits, 7 runs in 2/3 of an inning. He gave up basically everything he gave up was a missile, not fooling anyone.
Talk about feeling bad for a guy. I felt bad for that kid sitting there just like not being able to do anything. He just didn't have it. It was just
everything was just like a missile out to center field.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Like, but IKF pitch throws like a 38-mile-an-hour eephus. Rizzo's quote after the game. See what you think is weird about this. Rizzo said, "I loved it. I was really hoping Kiner would play the crowd a little more, maybe give a little crowd pleaser, but it's not his style."
I already know because I saw the notes. You have a problem with the nickname.
Kiner? That's not a nickname.
It is a nickname. It's an abbreviated part of his name, and therefore a nickname.
Since when are we calling him Kiner?
They in the clubhouse, that's what they call him, I guess.
I've heard Boone call him that a bunch.
Yeah. It's actually easy to say. Kiner is easy to say. Isaiah is not easy to say. Falefa certainly isn't easy to say.
IKF's
Falefa is
IKF's easy.
I don't think that's not a nickname that you call your teammate.
They call him Izzy a bunch too.
Yeah. So yeah, I've heard that. So yeah, I have no problem with it. And he had fun. He had a good time.
Never heard of him.
He's the exact. He could play everywhere. He could pitch, catch, third base.
He's the guy. He's the Yankees Shohei Ohtani. He pitches.
What a guy. Yeah. Ohtani can't play third base.
No, I'm sure. I bet he could.
It's probably true.
I bet he could. I bet he'd be good at that too.
So maybe I should just try to go get some hit up Game Time.
Seriously.
11:30.
I'm disappointed Ohtani's not pitching against the Yankees. I wish he was. It's so much fun.
Yeah. Well, I can't get to the game because they do everything at the same time. It's all blocked.
It's all traffic.
Thanks. Really, I mean, seriously, what is wrong with the city? And they think through these things. And it's from the outside.
It's a cool atmosphere. Marathon Monday in Boston is one of the coolest days of the year.
Great. But then why do we have to do the same thing at the same time? It's just it's a lot of things. Too many things.
Everyone is just blind day drunk.
Yeah.
Who's not running the marathon. It's fun. No one works in the city on Marathon Monday. It's not national. It's like a city holiday. Yeah, Patriots Day. And this year's the 10-year anniversary of the Boston Marathon bombing. So it's going to be a very emotional Marathon Monday.
It is. We were down there actually picking up Bevan's packet and bib and all that. And I actually think we were down there yesterday, which was to the day of the 10-year. And they were out there. All the servicemen and women were out there and were, marching through the streets and there was a moment of silence and the whole thing. So it was pretty heavy. It was cool to see everybody gathering around that point and paying remembrance. So yeah, a lot of emotions.
My sister was working the Boston Marathon that day.
Crazy.
I could not get in touch with her. It was very freaky. Okay, couple injury notes and then some stuff on Aaron Judge I want to touch on briefly. Obviously, DJ returned to the lineup. He was day-to-day with a quad for a few days. Severino threw a bullpen session on Thursday, and that went well. And then he's throwing another bullpen session where he will throw 2 simulated innings. Okay, great. Tommy Kahnle threw from 60 feet and is awaiting his next steps forward. He's going to be back end of May is kind of when we're seeing him.
Rodon and Severino. Rodon also threw similar.
He's going to throw a bullpen session tomorrow.
Yeah.
Is Rodon. So right. Donaldson could come back from the IL. He could have came back today, but they're going to hold him. They're going to send him to a rehab game, and then he'll be back for the Angels series probably on Wednesday. It'll be interesting what they do because Peraza, we didn't mention, Peraza was called up for Stanton, but that's going to be short-lived because once Donaldson's back, they're not going to have Peraza on the roster too.
Right. So yeah, that's so they're just giving him. I mean, you got to believe they're going to give him a start on that day, right? So he's going to come up, have a start in the bigs. They're not going to bring him up for a short time and not play him. So giving him just a little bit of an experience and some time up there. Obviously, he was here at the end of last year, but it's interesting. If you have a game, I mean, might as well. If you're going up and back, the travel's not too bad considering where the game is.
And then a report on Harrison Bader is that he's done fielding work and then he's going to be starting his rehab, but he will have a relatively longer minor league rehab stint, which we talked about last week. Yeah. It's like, how much time does he need because of his short spring training? So I don't know. What did they even give a date on when we're expecting him back? Like, I remember we talked about the end of the next homestand, but that might not even be realistic.
I mean, I'm looking at early May, first week.
Want to call it May 1st?
First week of May. Sure.
Yeah.
What day is that? Yeah, first week of May. If the series lines up for something along those, I could see that. I also think we have to just let's not fully expect that. Let's see how he's doing in rehab too. Just make sure his body is responding to the way it is, because damn well if it's not at all, they will hold him back.
A couple things on Judge. He bought a penthouse in Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know the exact price, but other penthouses in that building went for $20 million. So he potentially dropped $20 million, which is 2/3 of a year's salary on his penthouse.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
Staying in the city, I like it.
Jeter lived in the city his whole entire career.
Yeah, and career paths.
But he's no longer near Rizzo. Rizzo, Upper East Side guy. I don't know. Is Rizzo buying? He can't afford. He doesn't have penthouse money.
He's just gonna hang out at Judge's house. They're just gonna.
He's got his own room.
He's got his own room in Judge's house. So does the dog. Yeah. You know,
because they were near each other on the Upper East Side.
Yeah, I mean, logistically,
Chelsea,
it's more convenient to be.
Yeah, I would not. I mean, Chelsea's beautiful. Like, if I'm just picking where to live, I'd rather live in Chelsea than on Upper East Side. But if I'm going to Yankee Stadium, I'd rather live on the Upper East Side.
That's what I'm saying. It's not like, like obviously they're not. You know, they have a car that's taking them down there doing the things, but still, that takes a long time.
It's literally double. It's double the time from the
city
west
traffic.
side.
You're not getting like police escorts. You're sitting in the same traffic everybody else is.
I lived on the Upper West Side when I was in Manhattan, and it would take me minimum 35 minutes to get to Yankee Stadium, and that's if I caught every single subway perfectly. Didn't have to wait like more than a minute. Upper East Side, you're there in 14 minutes.
Yeah, and again, he ain't taking the subway.
No, he's not taking the subway. But I'm just saying,
sitting in traffic like
double the
else.
time on the West Side.
Yeah, it's a hike.
And then, did you know about this? So Judge was in a legal battle on a trademark. So this guy Michael Chisnia claimed that he should be able to sell shirts and hats that say "All Rise" and "Here Comes the Judge" because he filed for a trademark first before Judge and his team did. But the patent office decided, no, you're an a-hole.
He's not an a-hole. Look, hold on. I feel like this guy's getting a bad rap a bit here. He filed the trademark early on. He did it after
4 days after the 2017 home run derby.
Fine. Anybody is able to file a trademark and it is granted through. It's an application process. It's not like he just goes on and does it and he gets it. It's an application process. If he gets it, so what happens is, like, if Judge didn't become a thing, then he'd still have it, and
the
no
judge's chambers were already in.
Point is that you can't hate the hustle of a guy trying to do that and sell some t-shirts. I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. I actually did something very similar to this back in the day, and it just didn't work out because the thing didn't work out. It was when the Jets beat the Patriots. I forget what year this was.
2013,
10, when Bart Scott did
Mark Sanchez, right?
Yes. Bart Scott did the can't wait. The Jets ended up losing to the Steelers. If they had like 10 more minutes left in that game, 5 more minutes left in that game, they're going to the Super Bowl. I had the trademark for can't wait after Bart Scott did it. Like, I went and filed it immediately, and then ended up talking to his agent, and had a deal with Bart. I went to lunch with him in New York. He put up like a $300 lunch bill.
This is why you like this guy.
Yeah, I do. And so I actually had a purchase order from Walmart for Super Bowl shirts. So you want to know how the Jets have hurt me? They've hurt me so many ways.
They cost
so
you
many
millions.
ways. If they had won that game, things are different. Yeah, but they didn't win the game. They lost the game. Broke my heart in a different way. They've broken my heart in so many different ways.
All right, so maybe the guy's not an a-hole, but
I appreciate the hustle, and he lost. Like, it is, they granted it, because once something gets too close to a person, and then when you think of something, it's common knowledge that the association is with, the more famous person, then you're going to lose, and that's what happens.
Day off Monday for the Yankees, and then the Angels are coming to town. Should be a fun series. Anything else you want to talk about, Scott?
No, day off. Excited for the day off. That way I don't have to catch up on tomorrow's game, because there's no way in hell I'm going to be able to watch baseball tomorrow. But again, just appreciate everybody supporting Bevan and those who donated. Really appreciate it. If you're interested in donating, there's a link still on my Twitter in the link. I think I pinned a post on there. But yeah, I'll give some updates as she's going along. But excited. It's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow.
Look for the link to the event this week that'll be going up. And seriously, do not wait to buy the tickets, because we only have 100 of them, and I expect them to go very, very quickly. We will talk to you guys in a few days.